In a quiet town nestled between rolling hills, there lived a man named Marcus. Marcus was known throughout the community as a kind and hardworking man. He had a steady job at a local grocery store, where he worked tirelessly to support his family. With a wife, Evelyn, and 2 young children, Jasmine and David, Marcus's life was centered around providing for those he loved. For years, Marcus had been a loyal employee at the store owned by Mr. Thompson, a wealthy and respected figure in the town. Marcus had earned the trust of many, including his boss. He was the kind of person who would go out of his way to help others, whether it was carrying groceries for an elderly neighbor or staying late to help a coworker finish their shift. One day, everything changed. The store's finances had come up short, and Mr. Thompson noticed that a significant amount of money had gone missing from the cash register over several days. Concerned and eager to solve the issue, Mr. Thompson reviewed the security footage and discovered that the money had disappeared during Marcus's shifts. Without further investigation, Mr. Thompson concluded that Marcus must have stolen the money. Marcus was called into the office, where Mr. Thompson accused him of theft. Shocked and heartbroken, Marcus tried to explain that he was innocent, that he would never steal, especially not from a place he considered his second home. But Mr. Thompson was adamant. He believed what he saw and felt betrayed. Without giving Marcus a chance to prove his innocence, he fired him on the spot. Word spread quickly through the town, and soon everyone knew that Marcus had been fired. Some believed in his innocence, while others, swayed by the rumors, distanced themselves from him. The once friendly smiles turned into cold stares, and Marcus found himself isolated from the community he loved. Days turned into weeks, and life became increasingly difficult for Marcus and his family. Without his job, Marcus struggled to make ends meet. His children noticed the change in their father, the sadness in his eyes, and the tension in their home. Meanwhile, Mr. Thompson began to notice strange behavior from his son, Jacob. Jacob was a young man with a history of getting into trouble, but his father had always overlooked his mischief, hoping he would eventually grow out of it. However, something about Jacob's recent actions made Mr. Thompson uneasy. One evening, Mr. Thompson found himself in the office, going over the store's accounts. He noticed that there were still discrepancies in the finances, even after Marcus had been fired. Suspicious, he decided to check the security footage again, this time with a more critical eye. As he reviewed the tapes, Mr. Thompson's heart sank. There, clear as day, was his own son, Jacob, taking money from the cash register. The realization hit him like a ton of bricks. He had fired an innocent man, while the real thief had been under his own roof the entire time. The next morning, Mr. Thompson went to Marcus's home. When Marcus opened the door and saw his former boss standing there, he wasn't sure what to expect. Mr. Thompson, looking ashamed and regretful, confessed everything. He told Marcus that Jacob had been the one stealing the money, and that he had been wrong to accuse him without proper evidence. Tears welled up in Mr. Thompson's eyes as he apologized, begging for Marcus's forgiveness. Marcus, though deeply hurt by the experience, saw the sincerity in Mr. Thompson's apology. After a moment of silence, he nodded and forgave him, understanding that holding onto anger would only cause more pain. Mr. Thompson offered Marcus his job back, along with a raise and a heartfelt promise that he would work to rebuild the trust that had been broken. Marcus accepted, not because of the money, but because he knew that forgiveness was the path to healing. As Marcus returned to work, the town slowly came to learn the truth. Those who had doubted him began to apologize, and the community that had once turned its back on him welcomed him back with open arms. The experience, though painful, had brought out the best in Marcus, showcasing his strength, integrity, and capacity for forgiveness. Jacob, meanwhile, faced the consequences of his actions. With the support of his father and Marcus, he began to turn his life around, seeking redemption for his mistakes. The experience became a turning point for him, leading him to become a better person. In the end, Marcus's life returned to a new normal one where the bonds of trust were stronger, the community was more united, and forgiveness paved the way for second chances. He had been through a storm, but he emerged with his dignity intact, a reminder to everyone that truth and kindness would always prevail. As Marcus settled back into his job, the weight of the past weeks still lingered. Though he had forgiven Mr. Thompson, the sting of being wrongfully accused and ostracized by his community was not something easily forgotten. He found comfort in his family, who had stood by him through it all. Evelyn's unwavering support and his children's innocent love were his anchors during the storm. Evelyn, who had been quietly watching her husband carry the burden of their ordeal, decided it was time to help the community understand the true strength of Marcus's character. She organized a small gathering at their home, inviting close friends and neighbors who had shown them kindness even when things were difficult. At the gathering, Evelyn stood up to speak. "I want to thank everyone for being here today," she began, her voice steady but filled with emotion. "We've all been through a lot, but what I've learned is that true strength isn't just about facing challenges, but about how we rise from them. Marcus has always been a good man, a loving father, and a dedicated worker. I hope that what we've gone through serves as a reminder that it's important to stand by those you love and believe in their goodness, even when times are tough." Marcus, who was standing beside her, took her hand and added, "What happened was hard, but it's taught me a lot about forgiveness and the power of community. I'm grateful for the chance to continue working at the store and to be part of this town. My family and I are stronger because of the support we receive, and we want to move forward with love and understanding." The gathering was a turning point. The community, seeing the grace with which Marcus and his family handled the situation, began to rally around them even more. People who had once been distant started reaching out, not just to apologize, but to offer their friendship and support. As the weeks went by, Marcus noticed a change in the atmosphere at the store. Customers and co-workers alike treated him with renewed respect, and the once cold stares had turned into warm greetings. Mr. Thompson, true to his word, worked hard to rebuild the trust that had been shattered. He often consulted Marcus on important decisions, and even involved him in the store's future planning, recognizing his wisdom and dedication. One day, as Marcus was stocking shelves, Jacob walked into the store. Marcus hadn't seen him since their emotional meeting at the house. Jacob approached Marcus with a look of humility and regret. "Marcus," he began, his voice trembling, "I know what I did was wrong, and I can't express how sorry I am. I hurt you, and I hurt my father. I've been working on making things right, but I need you to know that I'm truly sorry." Marcus looked at the young man standing before him. He saw not just the boy who had made a mistake, but someone who was trying to change. "Jacob," Marcus said gently, "we all make mistakes. What matters is how we learn from them. I've already forgiven you. Now, it's up to you to forgive yourself and become the person you want to be." Jacob nodded, tears in his eyes. "Thank you, Marcus. I'll do my best." From that day on, Jacob began to work at the store alongside Marcus. Mr. Thompson thought it would be a good way for Jacob to learn responsibility and integrity. Under Marcus's guidance, Jacob started to understand the value of hard work and honesty. The two formed an unlikely bond, one built on mutual respect and the shared experience of redemption. The incident that had once threatened to tear the community apart ended up bringing it closer together. The town had learned a valuable lesson about judgment, trust, and the importance of supporting one another through difficult times. Marcus's story spread beyond the town, inspiring others to look more closely at their own actions and the way they treated those around them. The grocery store became a symbol of second chances, and Marcus, who had once been wrongfully accused, was now seen as a pillar of the community. As time passed, Marcus and his family continued to thrive. Jasmine and David grew up with a deep understanding of forgiveness and resilience, values that had been modeled by their father. Evelyn, ever the supportive wife, started a small community group focused on helping families in need, ensuring that no one would ever feel as alone as they had during their darkest days. The town, once known for its quiet existence, became known for its sense of unity and compassion. And at the heart of it all was Marcus, a man who had shown that no matter how difficult life's challenges might be, it is possible to rise above them with grace, forgiveness, and love. As the years passed, Marcus's story became more than just a tale of personal redemption. It became a lesson passed down from generation to generation in the town. Schools began teaching students about the importance of integrity, forgiveness, and standing up for what's right, using Marcus's experience as a powerful example. The town even organized an annual Day of Compassion, where people would come together to help those in need, honoring Marcus's legacy of kindness and understanding. The grocery store flourished under the guidance of both Marcus and Mr. Thompson. Their partnership had grown stronger over the years, built on mutual respect and trust. Mr. Thompson, who had once been blinded by his assumptions, became an advocate for fairness and second chances. He often spoke to other business owners and community leaders, urging them to treat their employees with the respect and dignity they deserve. Jacob, now a young man, continued to work at the store, but he had also taken on a new role in the community. He started a youth outreach program, helping other young people who were struggling with the same issues he had faced. He was open about his past mistakes, using his story to show others that it's never too late to turn your life around. With Marcus as his mentor, Jacob found his purpose in helping others, a far cry from the troubled youth he once was. One day, a letter arrived at Marcus's home. It was an invitation from the mayor, asking Marcus to attend a special ceremony at the town hall. The letter was vague, but Marcus and Evelyn were curious, so they decided to go. When they arrived at the town hall, they were surprised to see a large crowd gathered, including many familiar faces from the community. As they took their seats, the mayor stepped up to the podium and began to speak. Today, we are here to honor a man who has shown us the true meaning of integrity, compassion, and forgiveness. His actions have not only helped to heal our community, but have also inspired us all to be better, kinder people. The mayor then called Marcus to the stage. As Marcus stood before the crowd, he was handed a plaque that read, "In recognition of Marcus Johnson, for exemplary service to the community and unwavering dedication to the values of compassion and integrity." The crowd erupted in applause, and Marcus, who had always been humble, was deeply moved. He thanked everyone for their support and expressed how much it meant to him to be part of such a wonderful community. "I never expected anything like this," Marcus said, his voice filled with emotion. "All I ever wanted was to do right by my family and my community. I'm honored and grateful, but the real reward has been seeing how much good we can do when we come together." After the ceremony, as Marcus and Evelyn walked through the town square, people stopped to shake his hand and offer their congratulations. It was a far cry from the days when he had felt isolated and alone. Marcus couldn't help but smile, knowing that he had not only been given a second chance, but had also helped others find their own paths to redemption. As Marcus grew older, he began to think about the future of the store and the community. He knew that the time would come when he would need to step back and allow the next generation to take the lead. He spoke with Mr. Thompson about his thoughts, and together they agreed that Jacob was ready to take on more responsibility. Jacob had proven himself to be a capable and compassionate leader, and the community trusted him. Marcus and Mr. Thompson worked closely with Jacob, guiding him as he transitioned into his new role. Under Jacob's leadership, the store continued to thrive, becoming a central hub for the community. Marcus was proud of the man Jacob had become. He had watched him grow from a troubled youth into a responsible and caring leader, someone who was committed to making a positive difference in the lives of others. Marcus knew that the future of the store and the community was in good hands. Years later, as Marcus and Evelyn enjoyed their retirement, they often reflected on the journey they had been on. They had faced many challenges, but they had also experienced great joy and fulfillment. Their children, Jasmine and David, had grown up to be kind and successful adults, carrying with them the lessons of resilience and compassion that their parents had taught them. One day, while sitting on their porch, Marcus received a visit from Jacob. Now a respected leader in the town, Jacob had come to share some news. "Marcus," Jacob began, "I've decided to open a second store in the neighboring town. We've seen how much good this store has done for our community, and I want to bring that same sense of unity and support to others." Marcus smiled, feeling a deep sense of pride. "That's a wonderful idea, Jacob. You've come so far, And I know you'll continue to make a positive impact wherever you go. Jacob nodded. I couldn't have done it without you, Marcus. You believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. And that made all the difference. I'll always be grateful for the second chance you gave me. As Jacob left, Marcus sat back and took a deep breath, feeling a sense of peace and satisfaction. He had lived a life full of challenges, but also full of love, forgiveness, and redemption. He knew that his legacy would live on, not just through his family, but through the countless lives he had touched. In the end, Marcus's story was one of hope, a reminder that no matter how difficult the road may seem, that there is always a way forward. It was a story that would continue to inspire generations to come, showing that with kindness, courage, and an open heart, anything is possible. Years later, as Marcus sat on the porch of his home, watching the sunset over the hills, he reflected on how much had changed. The pain of being accused had long faded, replaced by a deep sense of peace. He had not only regained his job and his reputation, but he had also gained something far more valuable: a stronger bond with his family, a deeper connection with his community, and the knowledge that even in the face of adversity, goodness will always find a way to prevail. As he sipped his tea, Evelyn joined him, resting her head on his shoulder. We've come a long way, haven't we? She said softly. Marcus smiled, looking out at the town that had once been the source of so much pain, now transformed into a beacon of hope. Yes, we have, he replied. And I wouldn't change a thing. The story of Marcus's redemption became a legend in the town, a reminder to future generations that even in the most challenging times, there is always a chance for a second beginning, a chance to rise, to forgive, and to build a brighter future for everyone.